I want to talk about COVID-19 rules and our kids here in Canada and how we have so clearly failed them almost every step of the way, and we're continuing to fail them. Although it is interesting to note, I'll get to this part in a moment, that parents are fighting back and parents are actually bringing about positive change. It has been so disheartening throughout to look at a lot of these protocols that kids are facing, particularly when it comes to school rules. And here in Ontario, where I am based, a while ago, a number of months ago, I wrote some stories on how public health was actually sending home notifications to parents saying that if your kid has been exposed to COVID-19, not even a confirmed case, just an exposure, they have to isolate at home. That thing's not new. And at home alone in their own room for as much as 14 days. And this was being sent home to parents of young children. It was just remarkable. There was a large public outcry. A number of public health units, they revised their policies and said, okay, well, we're not really saying do that, or okay, it's not necessary anymore. But it was quite something that for a while they were sending that out. And I think a lot of parents had the good sense to say, I'm not doing this. I'm not separating my 8-year-old or 6-year-old, putting them in a separate room all alone for a week. But I imagine there are some people who they always follow the letter of the rules from the government, and they actually did it. And that is really tragic. Now, one thing that's so tragic about the Ontario government is that not only did other jurisdictions not do what I just described to you, but other jurisdictions, they weren't even sending an entire classroom home if one kid in the class had tested positive for COVID-19. Many jurisdictions throughout Europe, the United States, not doing that at all. In British Columbia, again, they didn't send the whole class home. One kid test positive for COVID-19, and they did a little bit of an analysis in the classroom, public health. Okay, did they have one sort of best buddy that they're always palling around with, playing games with and building Lego with? Maybe that kid should get a test to see if they have COVID. And that was the extent of it. That was generally how things worked in BC and Ontario. No, they always sent everybody home. Things should be better now, you would think, right? Now that we're in coming up to the end of January 2022, and that you've got teachers who have booster shots, adults are vaccinated, triple vaccinated, many kids are getting their first dose, a couple kids are getting the second dose as well, and everybody tells us Omicron is significantly milder. They still have some challenges in the hospitals, but for the individual, Omicron is multiple times milder. This is Public Health Ontario data I'm talking about, than the previous iterations of COVID-19. So what's going on? How are the rules now? When you break it down the way I just did, you would assume there's probably practically no rules for kids in Ontario because the situation is that much better. No, the rules are actually getting stricter, not because of government protocol. Government is no longer sending an entire classroom home anymore, which is great news. But individual classrooms, teachers, principals, they have gone rogue attempting to implement their own policies. And there's been a lot of controversy. I've heard from a lot of parents about this. I wrote a news article in the Toronto Sun about a school in Scarborough, Birchcliff Public School, where they were attempting to have kids, or at least one class was, to have small children eat outdoors on a week when the temperatures were slated to be minus 15 on those days. What on earth is going on here? But parents were upset. They made their voices heard, and then those protocols were revised. I heard another example of how preschool, and preschools do not mask kids. That is not the rule. It never has been in Ontario. A preschool just randomly decided we're going to mask 3-year-olds now. We're just going to do it for 2 weeks because whatever, #science. I heard from parents, they were very upset about this, and they made their voices known, they made their thoughts known, and the rule was repealed. So it's interesting to see that yes, we do have a lot of positive indicators when it comes to the Omicron variant right now. People, though, are bizarrely overreacting. They're pushing for more restrictions on our kids, but a lot of parents are saying no, they're getting those restrictions reversed. So a really frustrating situation that we're in right now. But it was interesting to see that finally there has been parental pushback, and no, people are saying that's a step too far. Because when all is said and done, well, not even when all is said and done, even now, we know there are many reports out there that say when it comes to lockdowns and closures, is it benefiting people over 65 or seniors? And yes, there's some benefits to it, but basically acknowledging that in younger age cohorts, particularly the children, the harms of the lockdowns are greater than the harms of the virus. That is pretty much an established fact right now. So it's frustrating that we still have the level of rules that our kids face right now, but it's interesting to see that we're stepping away from some of them, and parents are also saying, no, we want these gone, and they're pushing back, and they're succeeding.